Hi guys, you are watching or listening to the Shift Training Podcast,
where we talk about personal development, specifically mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health, and just overall well-being.
Vaughn's bringing the energy because today we're talking about something that's very important. We're going to do a quick crash course on emotions. Okay, so that's kind of our specialty. It's what we like to spend a lot of time talking about, but we like to talk to you guys about all kinds of things. Today, we're going to actually focus on what our core function or core thing is. So we want to bless you guys. We're going to jump into some various books and touch on emotions. So Vaughn's going to kick us off. What book are we starting with?
All right, let's start with our favorite, the very first thing that I read about emotion, and that is Emotional Intelligence 2.0 by Travis Bradberry and Greaves. The very first time I read this, I thought it was incredible. It was amazing. It was hands down amazing book. I think this book succinctly explains about your emotions, and it's just a better understanding about yourself and how to connect with yourself better and connection with others. So there are 4 components on this book. It covers the self-awareness, covers the self-management, social awareness, and relationships.
Yes.
And
good for you.
and yeah, go ahead.
Miss this book? Yeah, so this is the book, guys. If you have not done it or checked it out, you should get you a copy, get you a little code, do the test, all that stuff, and learn areas where you can improve. The good thing to know about emotional intelligence is it's not fixed. A lot of people are like, IQ is fixed. This is EQ or EI. And, you know, the way that that's measured, a key thing to be mindful of is that you can improve upon it. It's something that you practice. You can practice developing your self-awareness. You can practice developing your self-management, your ability to navigate that and handle yourself. And you can develop social awareness, and you can improve your relationships. They don't have to all be bad or whatever story or narrative you might be telling yourself. So that book is a fantastic place to start in terms of the emotional studies. It's just going to give you, I think, a bird's eye view or like a good overall kind of like look at this, and this will help you kind of start to understand your emotions. So I think after that, a good place to go is actually emotional awareness, or which you'll develop via The Universal Human, via Gary Zukav. And he talks a lot about emotional awareness in this book, really understanding how to create authentic power. And the way to do this is going to help you develop that emotional awareness. There's a lot of nuance in this book, a lot of specific things. Let's see if we can find something real quick. A lot of great chapters. Talks about relationships. Let's see, intention of business, health from a deeper place. Those are some good chapters. So there's a lot of gems in there. And again, if you need to develop your emotional awareness, and I mean like being aware of what your default emotional state is. What is your default emotional home? How do you normally navigate or move through the world? What is that energy that you're putting out? What are your emotions that you're expressing out in the world, in your relationships, with yourself, when you're by yourself? How is that working? What's going on? Again, you need to consider this book right here, Universal Human by Gary Zukav, and that's going to help you build your emotional awareness.
Right. I think it's a great book to read after you read the Emotional Intelligence, because this book, it dives deeper when it comes to emotional intelligence. Helps you grow your awareness spiritually as well, especially.
Yeah, very deep on that.
That's right. So the next book that we're going to talk about is from Susan David, and it's called
Emotional Agility.
Emotional Agility. Okay, so this book is another incredible book that I would highly recommend to people. I believe this book is incredible because it uses your feelings as information. That way you can practice on how to navigate your emotion. You don't have to change your emotion or control your emotion, but you're going to use that feeling, that information, so that way you can get better with your decisions.
Yeah, she says that feelings are data, not directives.
Amazing, yeah.
Data, not directives. I think that's important to really understand. May I see the book, please? Yeah, so I think that, again, like even this like subtitle here where it says, get unstuck, embrace change, and thrive and work in life. That's what this book is really about. It's to help you get unstuck, be able to embrace change, and thrive and work in life. And usually one of the key reasons we get stuck is how we feel about something. We get stuck in our feelings or trapped in a cycle or certain set of emotions, a behavior, a habit, a loop. We get trapped. And it's like, How do you do that? You need to develop your emotional agility. And the way that I view emotional agility is you're able to adapt, you're able to adjust, be flexible when you need to. I think of if feelings or things were happening, negative things are coming at you, let's say they're bullets and you're Spider-Man. Develop your emotional agility. You can move like Spider-Man through all these things that are coming at you because you know how to be flexible, you know how to adjust, and you won't end up stuck.
Right. Yeah, I think it's all about self-awareness, going back to the first component with the emotional intelligence 2.0. And if you're working on your self-awareness, make sure that you're easy on yourself because it requires some attention. You know, make daily shift until you get to that important values that you have, until you match it.
Right. So I think that's very important. The next book is actually, we'll see what you got.
The next book that we got is one of my favorite, and it's from Brené Brown, Atlas of the Heart.
Amazing.
I think this book is hands down the last book I've read in regards of emotions. One of my favorite book because this book makes you understand the definition, the real definition of whatever it is in regards of emotions. There are about 87 words that you're gonna learn over here. And stress is basically like it's fixable. You can fix it. But overwhelm is like the example that you told me about bench press.
Ooh.
You know, man, it's too heavy.
It's over.
Done. You're overwhelmed.
I think another great example out of the book is difference between jealousy and envy.
Envy.
Yeah, I think jealous and envy, you know, we'll say jelly all the time, but really it's more like envy. And there's two different types of envy, which is, you know, they talk about malicious and non-malicious envy, just plain envy. Plain envy being like, oh, you know, that's amazing. I wish I had that too. Versus like malicious envy is like, no, they shouldn't have it. Only I should have it. I should have what's theirs. It's mine. It was meant for me.
Yeah.
Me, mine. Give it to me.
That's my car.
My car, not their car. Not, oh, I see that they got that. Yeah, I'm gonna have that car too. That's plain, you know. Versus jealousy. Jealousy is usually more connected to relationships. So it's more about a loss of time, connection. It
requires 3 people.
Correct. 3. And then jealousy is just 1-to-1.
1-to-1.
Those.
I think another great example is the difference between happiness and joy.
Right.
We all know happiness is temporary, while joy leads to fulfillment.
Right. So I think that, again, Atlas of the Heart in regards to developing emotional granularity, that being understanding the nuance of specific language and specific words, how that ties to our ability to be emotionally agile. For example, saying that we're sad all the time when really we might be feeling something else. How do you distinguish or know which word it is? Because that's going to affect how you move or show up in a situation. Which brings us to our next book, actually, which is How Emotions Are Made, which is an amazing book by Lisa Feldman Barrett. And this book basically is, I think, the core of what a lot of these emotional studies are getting at, or what we're sharing, is that understanding that emotion is constructed and they're made, and a lot of this is based on language. So for example, in certain cultures, there is the absence of certain words and they might not describe or respond to certain things in that way. So for example, I forgot which culture she said it was. I think it was like Tibet or something, but there's not like a specific word for like sad. There's different ways to describe it. Like you might feel like lethargic or like low energy or other things like that, but it doesn't have the same connotation as sad. So you would not conduct yourself or respond or behave in that particular way because you don't even know what that is. There's no context. There's no story or narrative telling you what it should be.
Yeah.
So a good part of how we even express how we feel is relevant to what language we've learned, how we've learned or to interpret that. Like, for example, some people don't view anger as a bad thing. Some people view anger as a very bad thing.
Right. I think it just depends on your culture as well. I think this gives an example of like society at large, this how it is made. And yeah, that example of anger might be different with other people. It could be a good thing. Yeah.
So understanding that emotions, feelings, how we respond to that is constructed. So the reason why this is essential and important to understand is to realize that even your perception of how you feel and how you choose to express that, how you choose to emote that, that's constructed. Most likely not by you. For everybody, you have a base or core.
Yeah.
It hasn't been decided by you. What's important to understand is you have the opportunity to change that. You can construct something new.
Yeah.
You can abide by different standards, and you also need to understand where certain people are at and what it means for them in their case or their culture.
Right.
And that's going to take you to another level. But like I said, I think this is the foundation in which, again, even in Atlas of the Heart, Brené Brown cites this book, so it's important to understand that our feelings are not just total reality. Our emotions and how we choose to express it are not total reality. Even when we see someone else's feelings or behaviors, that's not their total reality either. That's constructed. So understanding how or why and nuance behind that, again, that's the key.
That's right. It's like a cloud. The sun is clouded, but
the sun is still bright on the other side of the clouds. Yeah, if you've ever flown on a plane, you're like, oh, it's overcast over here. And the moment you pass that, you're like, wow, it's sunny and gorgeous on the other side of those clouds. But you can't see, from down there. So sometimes you got to adjust your perspective so you can see. So some of the books that we shared today, guys, we have a bunch of books.
All right, we started with emotional intelligence.
Boom.
We got emotional agility.
Universal Human, Gary Zukav.
And one of our personal favorites, Atlas of the Heart by Brené Brown.
Fire. And then we have How Emotions Are Made, which is how we finished. And there are two more books, honorable mentions, in terms of this emotion crash course study thing. Okay. We have The Untethered Soul, for those who are not familiar, by Michael A. Singer. Boom, The Untethered Soul. I think there's a new version of this book out now.
2.0.
Yeah, I think there's another version or
I think it was just a different cover page, but it's the same.
Okay, cool. Well, this book here helps you to really understand who you are really. And a big theme of this is detachment. The reason why I recommend this as honorable mention in terms of emotions is detachment. Helps you to be able to look at, I'm not my thoughts and I am not my feelings. Well, then who am I? Well, there's an observer.
Oh.
The observer is aware of these experiences that you're having, right? So maybe that observer is the actual you and not per se this identity, which is experiencing all these things that you have going on in your life. I think that this book is a good gateway for you to take a moment, take a breath, and create that space to even be able to acknowledge how you feel, how you can even practice emotional agility. You need space. This is how you create that space.
That's right. It's like Matrix right there.
Yes, this is the key.
Just a quick note. Once you get to this chapter, it's talking about death. I think it's incredible. That's one way to think about life. Your immortality, it's not there.
All right. And then another honorable mention is The Code of the Extraordinary Mind by Vischen Lakhiani. And again, the reason why this book is because this book helps you to really understand beyond what you think, how you feel at the moment. It kind of touches on a little bit of, constructed emotion, like your perception itself has been constructed since you were young, and you live within a culture scape, and you get taught a bunch of rules, which Vischen Lakhiani refers to as, BS rules. And rules. And understanding that you're not bound to that. I think it's important to understand that you're not bound to your culture scape. You're not bound to these various constructs, that you can learn, you can adapt, you can move, you can show up differently beyond those elements. Again, I feel like this is one of those things that helps you to understand, build awareness for yourself. So self-awareness, like we talked about emotional intelligence 2.0, self-awareness, but also social awareness of what's going on around you, where you're at in the moment, understanding, oh, I'm in this room and this is the culture of the room. Now, do I navigate or play by this culture of the room? Do I try to shift or adjust this? Or do I just step outside of it completely? And being able to do that is extremely powerful. So again, honorable mentions are The Untethered Soul and The Code of the Extraordinary Mind. And I think with that, we've nailed all the intro to learn about your feelings and your emotions that we possibly can. Is that it for us? I would say that is all for today. So where can they find us?
Please don't forget to follow us on our social media, Shift on Your Life. And if you're watching and listening to this podcast, please subscribe, Shift Training.
All right, guys. Thank you for your time. We hope that this information is helpful to you. If you'd like us to dive deeper on any of these or like us to do a book review, I think some of these we've done book reviews on, but if you'd like us to do a book review on any of these books in particular, we would be glad to go over in detail. So thank you. Appreciate it. Have a great day.